You're tuned in to Grown Folks Production.
In the mix
With the commish, Nate.
And here we go. Welcome to Press Pass Live, your weekly podcast show for the OMFL, the world's longest and oldest online CFM in the world. We're turning 23 this year, fellas. January 1st, we will turn 23. It's crazy to think that we've been doing this for 23 years. Let me turn this down just a little bit. That's the wrong way. I don't want you to go that way. I want you to go down. There you go. Let me welcome in my co-host, Mr. Maniac of the Atlanta Falcons and your commissioner of the Deuce. How you doing, Maniac? Uh-oh. Wait. Oh, yes. Now you're with me.
Okay. All right. Yeah. Technical difficulties already. So, no, doing great, man. Excited for to talk about playoffs today, and you get to look at my ugly mud live on the screen. So
I don't know what happened, but you're back up and down again. Everything was working perfectly, and as soon as I hit start, he flipped back vertical. He went mute. What happened in the 10 seconds we did an intro? I don't know what happened, but let's see if we can't fix it really quick. He's going to work on his stuff. We had it working. Now you're upside down again. What'd you do to make it go vertical? Whatever you did last time, it worked perfect. Poor man. I'm forcing him into some new territory here. So we got some bugs to work. We had it. It was great. It was perfect. He was centered. We had good audio. We were ready to go. And here we start off on a bad foot. I'm going to let him do his thing. I'm going to keep an eye on you over there. I'm going to go ahead and get over here. Maniac, we're going to jump in. Today is the prediction show. We got a lot to talk about. We're going to jump in head first to the tippy top of this, and let's do a recap of week 14, 15, and 16, which we are currently in. And week 14 had a couple of good games, but man, it got crazy when we got later on in the season. First, the Baltimore Ravens with a 34-24 victory over Pepper and his Jacksonville Jaguars. It's good to see Pepper competing and able to get a team that was not designed for him, find some momentum and get rocking and rolling there and be able to make that happen for himself. The Cardinals, the Cardinals beat the Dolphins. This Maniac disappeared on me. I don't know what happened. Hopefully he can still hear me. Miami falls to Arizona 26-35. Looks like they played this game twice. Joker is no joke. No pun intended there. 14 points in the fourth quarter. That quarterback and the way he's designed his offense and the way he's designed his defense and the way he attacks you, man, is outstanding. He forces you into some tough plays. Today was no different as the Miami Dolphins turned the ball over twice. You can see the rushing yards, 95 to 153. More balanced attack, though, for the Cardinals, 248 and 153. More of a pass-heavy offense for the Miami Dolphins, as Miami falls to Arizona 26-35. Philadelphia with a 27-16 victory over Little Koch and the Cleveland Browns. Good to see Twinkie finding some momentum here late in the season. You're always looking for some building blocks that you can go and add little pieces to and find that as you move into the offseason. The New York Jets with a 37-36 victory over the Tennessee Titans. Denver with a 14-10 victory over Bird and his Carolina Panthers. Your Atlanta Falcons with a 40-35 victory over the New York Giants. Pittsburgh, they fall to Cincinnati 35-13. And then the last one I wanted to talk about, I'm milking this thing as much as I can milk it to give Mr. Maniac an opportunity to get back in here. He's figuring it out. You're still horizontal. Again, you did something a while ago, and all of a sudden, it went the way that we needed it to go. But the Chargers, I always mess up because it's like SDGs. They moved back to San Diego. The Chargers fall to the Las Vegas Raiders. We've been talking a lot about the Las Vegas Raiders and the momentum that he has found for himself. They win 27-24, 28 scored points here in the fourth quarter combined between these two teams. Neither team could find any kind of rushing game. 60 yards to 72 for the Vegas Raiders, 367 passing yards to only 193 passing yards for the Chargers. 6 combined turnovers for both of these teams, though. as they really struggled to keep the ball on their side of the court, so to speak, field. I don't know what I'm trying to say. I'm milking it, trying to watch Maniac over here as he tries to fix this thing. But they come away with a big victory, and they continue the momentum as they get ready for the offseason and get ready to roll in here. And we got to I don't know, Maniac's back. But you're still vertical. I don't know what happened.
I don't know, man. I flipped my phone twice.
What'd you press a while ago? You were like, you didn't even flip the phone. You just like pressed something and it went the right way.
Is that it?
No.
No, that shows me upside down for me. So let me flip my phone. But then it also flips me.
Yeah, just keep you like
That's
that.
where I
We'll
need to
figure
be.
it out. This is going to be a little off, but I'm going to fix it as he's talking. Just keep it like that. We can make that work if that works for you. Maniac, let's talk about the next week, which is week number 15. What kind of games you want to talk about here?
All right, so let me get over here to the schedule. So I'm holding the phone with one hand and working the controller with the other. So, but we got a lot of games going to be happening in week number, let's see, 14. That was right, or am I 15?
I think your week number 15.
17.
No, we just covered 14. You're in 15. I promise y'all, we actually put some planning into this. I don't know what happened.
Yeah, I'm playing, but this camera thing's done wrecked me up. But week 15. Okay, so we're looking at the Seahawks and the Buccaneers. This game was a 41-42 game. Went down to the wire. Both quarterbacks in this game played tremendously. We have the White for the Seahawks and Ryder, both import quarterbacks from Madden 23, and both were phenomenal this game. Both had a quarterback rating over 136, 220 yards, 4 touchdowns for Brad White for the Seahawks, and then Ryder had 3 touchdowns, 1 interception. Both quarterbacks were over 60% completion percentage, but the Buccaneers would get the win here, 42-41. What a shootout! No defense in this game. Literally this week, you could talk. I went down this whole list, and you could talk about every game. We had the Houston-Jacksonville game that was 17-14. This game was looked like it was played twice. And then we had the Falcons and the Saints, another quarterback duel from the imports, and both these guys, Yannick Blase, 2 touchdowns, 1 interception. He was 15-21, 71%. Definitely, you found your niche, I think, with the quarterback here, the lefty, the southpaw. Parker Colt, though, was phenomenal this game. Again, we had to start this game twice, and in both games he was phenomenal. This game he had 4 touchdowns, 1 interception, 20 of 35, 57%. He was actually a lot better until I just the last quarter I was just trying to chunk it down the field every play, trying to get in position to kick a field goal, but ended up with a 28-28 tie. This was a matchup to talk about for seasons to come. I don't think I've ever been in a tie, and I may have been in one quite a few Maddens ago, but this was a fun game, though.
It was the perfect
the
ending
Rams,
to both of our seasons.
Right. It's just like it was just put a bow on it. That's pretty much all it did. So, but it was a great game. It was a fun game. And then you got the LA Rams, the newcomer Shiloh Bad, taking on Bird and his favorite team, the Carolina Panthers. This game was a really close game as well. Both teams played really tough. Looked like the Rams were actually tougher on defense because they were able to score some points on offense. They had 3 touchdowns from their quarterback, Skylar Thompson, to 2 interceptions. Bryce Young only had 160 yards passing and 3 interceptions. It was kind of unusual. 4 sacks, so he sacked 4 times. He had 10 completions out of 23 attempts, only 43% completion. But his running game was definitely on par. Sorry, trying to work this with one hand is not working. All right, you gotta have to. All right, so this is rushing game though for the Panthers. 17 attempts, 102 yards, 6 yards average, a touchdown for Miles Sanders. Hubbard had 38 yards, so definitely had his running game going, and then also pitch in his defense, getting a couple scores. This game was a good one though, and we see the game end up with a 26-21 win for the Carolina Panthers. The next one right now, like I said, this whole list, you could just go down the whole list and talk about every game on this list pretty much. Cincinnati with a 38-37 win over Buffalo. Just for the sake of me trying to fiddle around with the phone, I'm not going to do it, but both teams played exceptionally well. I was kind of surprised this game was high scoring as it was, because Buffalo Bills are one of the top defensive teams in this league. Skipping on down to the Dallas Cowboys and the Baltimore Ravens, this one was a nail biter all the way to the end. 36-33 win by the Cowboys, keeping his number 1 seed solidified. And then also the Ravens in this game, if you look at it from the standpoint, this is kind of a moral victory that they just put up 33 points on the top team from the NFC. So he's definitely going to be able to hang with the big boys. Skipping on down to the Arizona Cardinals versus the Vikings. This game, again, both guys know each other. They've played each other in the NBC. Now they're over here also playing the OMFL and the Deuce. But these guys know each other, and it showed in this game. So you have the Arizona Cardinals getting the win 31-26 over the Minnesota Vikings. Minnesota is looking at the draft to solidify their team, looking towards the next season. But you also have the Arizona Cardinals, who are in the thick of things in the playoff race, which we'll be talking about them here in a little while. But Arizona gets the win 31-26. And my last game to cover, and I could cover more, but the San Diego Chargers versus the Kansas City Chiefs. This game could have playoff implications further down the road. The Chargers now taken over by Black Hats, who left as Panthers, went out west with the AFC, and he played KC with Shocks fan, who has been very good this Madden, but this game was a close one, but also could impact the playoffs tremendously. 33-27 win for the San Diego Chargers.
The Panthers Panthers, listen to me. In my head, Cats is the Panthers. The Chargers had the ball for 6.5 minutes in this game versus 27 plus minutes for the Kansas City Chiefs. I can't even wrap my head around what went on there. All right, nobody can see you if you want to go ahead and fiddle with it and try to see if you can figure it out. I'm going to talk about week number 16 here, because, man, there are a lot of games that we could talk about. Let me get this music back where it needs to be. Sorry about that. All of the tech issues, they're starting just because we're here messing with this stuff. But I want to talk about a ton of games. You talk about last week that Maniac just covered has so many games that we could have talked about. This week has a ton of games that we could have talked about. There are a bunch here. Okay, it is where it's supposed to be. I couldn't tell for a second there. I was like, wait a second. I can't tell if it's in my ear or on my phone. Week number 16 also had why am I frozen now? What is going on here? I can't believe this. Why I'm frozen just looking down. I can't. I promise it's not my computer this time. I don't know what it is, but let's see if we can't hurry up and reset this before I talk about week number 16. Oh, now we're back. I think sometimes the Madden gods, as much as they try to bother us when we have a CFM, I truly believe that sometimes they try to bother us right here on any kind of content that we try to create. I don't know what has happened, but the issues are definitely out and about. I don't even know if Maniac can see me anymore, but everybody else can see me. We'll work on the rest here in just a second. You cannot see me? All right, let me fix that really fast because that's super duper easy. We're going to go over here. Bam. Now you should be able to see me. We're back. There were a ton of games here that we could have talked about. Let's talk about the Atlanta Falcons beating your Detroit Lions. Holy cow. Has Atlanta figured some things out? 21-14 at halftime. Coming to the second half, it's all the same. Atlanta did hit a bit of a speed bump in the fourth quarter, scoring no points, but the Detroit Lions put up 13 points. This game would have been one to watch and be able to call. 315 passing yards for the Atlanta Falcons, but 190 rushing yards for the Detroit Lions. Atlanta was kind of shut out on the game, only 53 rushing yards, but they did a great job holding Trey, who's a great passer, to only 183 passing yards. There were 3 turnovers in this game, 2 for Detroit, 1 for the Atlanta Falcons, 7 third down conversions for the Atlanta Falcons, and they won the time of possession 21-34 to 18-26, and they come away with a great victory as they too begin to build up for the next season and roll into the offseason with a little bit of momentum. The Dragons, they hung a 54 burger on the Green Bay Packers with a 54-37 victory for the Chicago Dragons. Great game for Tim. The Buffalo Bills with a 31-13 victory over the Orlando Condors. The Condors have hit a bit of a skid. They're kind of a little off and on throughout the end of the season. It was impressive what Chicago did against Green Bay, but their old owner, Big Hurt, moved over to Washington, and well, he just hung 59 on the New York Giants with a 59-21 victory. The Dallas Cowboys win against the Cleveland Browns 33-21. The New York Jets with a 46-35 victory over the New England Patriots as they too begin to put up a ton of points. A lot of points scored here in week number 16. I froze again, and I don't know why. I have no clue what's going on. Clearly, my camera and my Mac are not having a good time right now. I think what it is, and Mr. Maniac, I hate to do it, but I think it is they are arguing between OBS having my camera or this other program. And there we go. See, I turned the other one off and OBS is just fine. They're arguing back and forth. So we'll figure that out a little bit later. The Rams with a 27-24 victory over the Broncos. I think this ended up being a CPU game. I'm not 100% sure. Maybe it did get played. I'm not 1,000% sure on this one. I know they were having a hard time hooking up. The Vegas Raiders with a 33-31 victory over the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. This was a great game that was happening last night as we were playing PUBG. I was listening into this game. Tampa Bay ended up taking the lead with like 15 seconds left to go. And then all of a sudden, Vegas takes it back. They kick the field goal. They win this one 33-31. And Philadelphia with a 44-38 stunner over the Cincinnati Bengals as Twinkies flexing some muscles on the big-time Denver and the Cincinnati Bengals. And then I got to break my own wrist here and pat myself on the back. The New Orleans Saints with a 31-7 victory over the Arizona Cardinals is a big-time victory. And Mr. Maniac, I hate to tell you what's going on and what I'm about to say. Your video's off.
Oh, that's okay. I'd already put my phone down and turned it and got out of that because, man, I fumbled through week 14 so bad, or 15 so bad. Yeah, see, I can't.
So we got no video for you,
but no, no video for me.
All right, well, you can leave that program then. I don't know why. Now I hear double us. You must have turned something on. Okay, here's what I'm doing. I'm going to put your picture back up so we don't have to just stare at nothing. And now I got to adjust your picture just a little bit. So I'm going to leave that site. You don't have to worry about it. Look, we tried. We're trying new things over here, and it just didn't work out this time. That's okay. Let's turn the corner here. Boy, this has been a glitchy kind of start to the afternoon here, but we're going to get it figured out. Now you're real big because I adjusted it to fit your video, and now I put your photo back on. It's massive, so I'm going to have to fix that. While I fix that, why don't you talk about week number 17?
All right. So now that I don't have to fiddle around, hold my phone, I can hold my controller and talk. Woo! Week 17. Guys, this is going to be the week that decides a lot of things, I think, especially for the AFC. I know the NFC is pretty much wrapped up a lot of their divisions and stuff, so the AFC is still open. So let's get into, I'm just going to go down the list. Eagles and Steelers, this one's going to be a battle of who wants number one or who wants one of the top 5 picks. Really, they need to. Both these teams probably could stand to lose this game, but the Titans and the Dolphins are going to be the first one I want to talk about that really is going to have some implications. The Dolphins, to keep their playoff hopes alive, need this win. Both teams have been hot on offense and not so much on defense. So this game is going to be pretty pivotal, I think, for the Dolphins. There's still a possibility, even if they lost this game, they could get in, but I believe they're going to have a pretty tough opponent in the next week as well. So, and then another game for week 17 that could have playoff implications is the Commanders versus the Panthers. The Commanders, Big Hurt, comes in and he's won, I think, 3 straight with the new team. And the Panthers are kind of struggling a little bit, out of the playoff race pretty much right now. And I think they're hanging on for dear life, but it's kind of getting bleak. And the Commanders, for whatever reason, I don't know, it just seems like this team fits Big Hurt, and Big Hurt's been humming with them. He's playing good defense as well, so that's kind of helped him out in his resurgence. That defense was put together really good by Bird, by the way, there in Washington. But this game is going to be playoff implications abound in this game. So we'll have to stay tuned to this one, watch and see what happens. The Chargers versus the Chiefs, another big playoff implication possibility here for those final couple of spots, I think, in the wild card. They're on the AFC side, both guys. The AFC West is just a slugfest to the end of the season. We've got 3 teams kind of just all right there together. But this game, again, Chargers, you got Black Cats moving over to that team. He's been playing pretty solid with them as well. And then you got the Chiefs with Shocks fan. He's had a really good couple of seasons already in this Madden, and he's just kind of strolling along, and his defense is actually probably one of the better ones out of the AFC West, but he's kind of struggled a little bit with that side of the ball. But this game is going to be very pivotal to see what happens. And next up, we got the Browns versus the Bengals. Now I'm going to call this one Buddy Bowl 2 because both these guys know each other extremely well, and they know exactly what the other one's going to be doing. So I know the Browns are basically out of the playoff race. They're kind of on the fringe, but I'm pretty sure they're already eliminated. But the Bengals are fighting for that top spot, and they were in the top spot, but they lost it with losing to the Eagles, which was a big upset. And now they find themselves kind of clawing and fighting their way, trying to keep in that top spot. They don't want to drop down too far. But this one's going to be a big game and a good one to watch, so stay tuned to this one. And then the Ravens versus the Raiders. We've got Jay Bowles.
It's going to be a great one.
Oh, yeah. He has just came out of nowhere this season, and he got him a quarterback in the draft. Signed some guys. He got some guys in free agency, and he's got that team humming. But here we got Mr. Nipple and the Ravens, and they have been a solid team so far all the season. As long as he's plugged in here, he is a tough opponent to play, and this game could be a preview of a playoff game here in season 107 here at the end. All right, next up we got the Cards and Seahawks. Again, could be a playoff implication. The Cards are still battling for that one of the final playoff spots in the NFC side. The Seahawks have already pretty much, I think, I've already nailed down, I think, the fourth spot or the sixth spot, wherever they're the first wild card spot. Anyway, but the Cardinals and Joker, they have a very young team, and he's got that team playing extremely well. The Seahawks have been at the top part of the NFC West the last 2 seasons. This game is going to be a big matchup and a fun one to watch. Dragons versus the Vikings. Dragons, we know he's got the new owner there with Tim moving over there, and he's been on a win streak. I think he's won 3 in a row. He's actually been putting up a lot of points. The Vikings, though, Bill there in New York, he's definitely a great owner, and he can put up points no matter what the team is. Record showing right now, he played the Cardinals extremely tough this last week, and so I look to see this game actually being a slugfest because these guys are division rivals. And then last but not least, we've got the Jets and the Bills. The Bills have basically taken over the AFC East. They've won that division, but we got the Jets. He's still fighting. He's trying to get in the playoffs. And both these teams, every time they match up, they play extremely well against each other, and look forward to having a great game to watch and to keep your eye on here.
Tons of good games. Let's talk about week number 18 before we bring in OMFL news and then move over to our playoff predictions and get into this. Should be some really good games. You never know what happens by the time you get to 16, 17, and 18. Who's like, all right, I'm out. I'm just going to start putting in and plugging in some of these rookies, some of these young players so they can get XP. It's going to be interesting to see how that one plays out. Does Tim try to play spoiler in week number 18 against Kevin and the Buccaneers? Has Kevin got things sewed up, which he is in the playoffs, but does he have that seeding sewed up and now he's just starting a bunch of backups? That could be a really interesting one. Raiders and the Texans could be a fun one. Raj is going home. I see you, Raj, in the chat. Either Raj is at home or on his way home. Hopefully Roger can now play spoiler just a little bit as the Raiders try to make a run into the playoffs. Panthers and Falcons could just be a fun one to see. A new rivalry being born, even though there's nothing really to play for in that game. Condors and Jaguars could go a long way. Again, the Condors not having that season like they want to have. They're sitting at 8-7 currently. They're playing the Jaguars. Pepper's now moved over there. I think the Pepper and the Jaguars are eliminated from the playoff contention, but can they play spoiler and maybe knock the Condors into one of those wild card spots, which don't look now, but the Jets are sitting in one of those wild card spots and may be looking to make some noise. Bengals and Ravens, when you get to week number 18, knowing, hey, we might face each other in the playoffs, a lot goes into what lineup are you going to put out there? What lineup are we going to see? That's going to tell us a lot. That might be a really fun game, or both guys might start a bunch of people we don't even know their names, might not even go anywhere. Same could be said for the Cowboys and Seahawks. By then, the number 1 seed could be all sewed up, but Meek Boy's still trying to play for something a little bit more. He's currently sitting in that number 1 seed. He's going to need the number 1 wild card seed is what I meant to say, but he needs the 49ers to help him. If the 49ers drop a couple of games leading up to this, can Meek Boy sneak in there with a higher seed? Could be a really, really fun game to see how that one plays out. Packers and Lions, we know these two guys just flat out don't like each other. Is Priest trying to spoil some of Trey's dreams and visions of what he's going to do in the playoffs? The biggest story going into this one is going to be injuries. The Lions have had a bunch of injuries leading into the end of the season, and Priest would want nothing more than to hurt even more of his players as Trey tries to move into the playoffs and have something happen. 49ers and Cardinals, what happens for Joker? Is he able to continue to hold on to one of these last wild card spots? Currently, he's in that number 2 wild card spot. Is he trying to get higher? Is by the time we get to week number 18, is he even lower? A lot's going to tell what happens to this one. And finally, Jets and Chiefs. boy, the Jets are in the playoffs, y'all. We did not think that 6-8 weeks ago. Now they're here. The Chiefs have been a little hot and cold, like hot when they played me and then cold when they play some of these other teams. But they've been hanging with the big dogs. Let's see what happens in this one. The Jets are trying to prove a point. The Chiefs are trying to show that they can hang with just about anyone, and it's going to go a long way whenever they face the season 106 OMFL AFC representative. They're going to have to show up and play some really good football. That's a quick look at week number 18. Maniac, you ready for some news?
I'm ready for some news. Let's say there's some.
I like the video. We got to get you to figure out the holding the camera thing. You had to stay. I don't know. I liked it. It had a good feel for it. We had figured it out, and then all of a sudden he's like, "Nope, I'm turning it off." All right, Denbrew, take it away for some OMFL news.
Welcome back to the OMFL news. I am Denbrew. This is season 107. We are in week 16, soon to be week 17. We only have a handful of games remaining. Speaking of week 16, did you know? I noticed, because I can't stop anyone right now, but we've had 4 games in this week combined for over 80 points. So a bunch of points getting put up. Also, looking ahead, I got some questions to throw out. Answer in the chat. Will those Cowboys remain undefeated? I believe they're 15-0 right now. Put your answers down in the chat. Another question. We got 2 new owners that are hanging on to the 7 seed in the wild card. One in the AFC, the Chargers and Panther Nation. And over in the NFC, the Dragons and Tim. Are those 2 guys going to hang on to those wild card spots? Answer me down in the comments. I'm going to throw it back to Nate, and I'm going to assume my guy Maniac is there. I'll be back for another segment here shortly. Thanks.
All right, you've been challenged by Mr. Denbrew. We want to see it in the chat. Let us know. There's a bunch of you in here. Who do you think's going to make it from those 2 brand new owners? And now it's time, Maniac, for us to dig into the OMFL playoffs. Let me go ahead and move my camera here so we can take a look at what are we looking at first? I can't remember which one I told you. Let me look really fast. We're going to start with the NFC. So let me go back where I was. Let's start with the NFC. I'm going to show you what Madden says, but our guy Bill does such an amazing job of telling us exactly who still has an opportunity, who's in, who's out. So let me tell you what Madden says and then how that's going to change with what Bill says. I've not compared notes, so maybe these match up. The number 1 seed is the Dallas Cowboys. I do think at this point he could go undefeated. Here is the caveat. It's so hard to keep playing your starters when you're week 17 and 18. Chance some kind of injury when you know you've got it sewed up. The number 1 seed's not going anywhere. If he wins this week and next, I think he sits a bunch of people in week number 18, and it's just going to be a little bit harder for him to win that game. I think he can still clearly do it, just a little bit harder. But he's got the number 1 seed. Number 2 seed is the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. That is right and sewed up. It is not completely sewed up. The 49ers are sitting at 13-3 and 13-2. The Lions right there on the edge of 11-4. So the Lions would need help for them to move up to the number 2 seed. And I could be wrong. I think maybe Kevin has beaten the Lions, so maybe there isn't a chance there. 49ers, Buccaneers, they're going into it at the very end of this one. We'll see exactly who gets that. The number 3 seed is the 49ers. Currently, right there, hovering close is going to be the Detroit Lions. They are the number 4 seed. The number 5 seed is the Seattle Seahawks at 10-4. The number 6 seed are the Cardinals at 9-6. And the number 7 seed is the Dragons at 8-7. Still alive. You got the Commanders at 7-8. The Panthers at 6-9. I think the Panthers are out of it. They would need way too much help, but the Commanders are right there. I mean, they hung 59 points up on just this past week, so a lot of points being scored by Big Hurt and the Commanders over there. But what you see on your screen is currently who is in there. Maniac, do you see any changes to just the seeding? And then tell me who gets to the NFC Championship, the 2 teams, and then who wins that game.
Okay, so I was doing some digging earlier and stuff, and I was trying to look at some possible scenarios or whatever. pretty much, I think what you see from 1 through 5 is what you're going to get. That's going to be the seeding. I don't think there's anything going to be changing, unless again, like guys just completely set guys, and they just don't care about the last couple of games because they just want to get their players hurt. But
Welcome
you
back
got the final.
to the
Go
OMFL.
ahead.
Can you hear me?
I screwed something up. I still had Denver on, so when I went back to the screen for your face, Denver started talking. I'm like, "Where'd Denver at? Did he jump in here?" No, he's
Denver's making a special announcement. But no, you got the 6 and 7 seeds that are still open, and currently right now they're showing to be the Cardinals and the Dragons. Again, like with some of the games that are going to be played, you got the Cardinals are playing the Seahawks week 17. I still get mixed up with the extra game now. I'm always thinking like,
Yep.
no, that's not right. But
that's old head struggle with that.
yeah, and then he's also got a 49ers. So again, it depends on. I mean, that probably out of all the players that are still fighting for a final spot, he's probably on paper and what we've currently seen from the season has the toughest road because that is 1 and 2 in the division, and those are division foes too. So you never can tell how Madden's going to play. Especially with your division foes. The Dragons probably have the second toughest road to the division because they have both. Let's see the Vikings and the Bucks. Again, the Bucks may set, so that may change. But the Commanders currently are on the outside, but they're making a push, and I think they have probably the easiest of the, if you can call it easy, but you got the Panthers and then the Steelers. Both teams are basically out of the playoffs. Pittsburgh has not been putting up hardly any points. I know both these guys, they've played each other, they know each other, but the Commanders have been red hot. And I see the Commanders actually sneaking into this one of the final 2 spots of the playoffs. And I actually see, looking at if all 3 of those teams finish 9 and 8, the division wins would go to the Commanders. They have the better record against the division, and the Cards would get. And so if all 3 of those finish 9 and 8, the Cards would be the one left out. It would be the Commanders and the Dragons making the playoffs. And that's kind of my scenario that I'm seeing. I'm seeing that we're going to see the Commanders and the Dragons pick up those final 2 spots. So you have the Cowboys, Bucks, 49ers, Lions, Seahawks, Commanders, and Dragons. That's how I see your NFC playoff looking. Now, if we go into each matchup, again, if you have the Cowboys would be out for the round 1 because they're going to have a bye. So you have the Bucks facing off against the Dragons, and the Buccaneers are going to take that game. So Dragons have put on a good show. They have really done well. Again, they would also be matched up the final week of the season as well. So is one team not going to show the other team what they've got? Is that going to play into a factor? And that's in my scenario. So again, it would be the Dragons versus the Bucks in the first round, the wild card. Bucks would take that. And then you would look at the next matchup would be the 49ers versus the Commanders, which D-Money has. There's one owner in this league that D-Money has had more problems with, has been Big Hurt. Big Hurt has won a bowl versus D-Money. He's also won several games against D-Money. Seems like he kind of has D-Money figured out. And I actually think with the Commanders team that he has, that defense, I actually think he could probably knock D-Money out in the first round. How crazy is that? But I'm going to call it right now. The Commanders will knock the 49ers out in the first round. and send D-Money packing early for his early Christmas vacation. And so here I am. I'm going out on limbs already, and I haven't even got started. So that would make your Commanders going into the next round as the number 6 seed, and then the Lions would be left to face the Seahawks. The Seahawks and Lions had already faced off once already this season, and it was a pretty close game. A lot of stuff going on. I think the Lions, their quarterback situation. Hooker, I believe, is hurt. Stafford came in and played exceptional well, but his arm strength, I noticed, was lacking, and the long passing game of the Lions was null and void in our game that I played. He was a lot of short passes, dink and duck, 15, 20-yard type passes, and Stafford played really well in that second half, but give the Seahawks the nod here. So you're going to have two wild card teams knocking off guys that have won the divisions. I don't know how crazy that sounds, but probably some guys giving some side eyes right now. But and then looking at those next rounds, you'd have the Cowboys versing the Commanders, the number 6, the lowest seed. I'd give the nod to the Cowboys there. The Cowboys advancing to the second round, and then you would have the Bucks versing the Seahawks, and that game I think would be really close. But I'm going to give the nod to the Bucks here. I know Kev doesn't give himself much accolades, but I see the Bucks actually getting the win here, and moving on to the NFC championship game versus Dwayne versus Kev. This is going to be a good one. We already seen them play. Dwayne got the best of Kev, and I think that Kev just gets in his head too much, and Dwayne will be your representation in season 107 on the NFC side.
Yep. I think we agree on a lot of these. I'll keep mine a little bit brief just because I don't like breaking down games that we don't even know if we'll get there. I hope what you see on your screen is what you get. I think for a variety of reasons. I want to see Tim get into the playoffs. He got a brand new team. He feels better. He's putting up a lot of points. I want to see Tim get a taste of the playoffs just for one season at minimum. I hope you make it multiple times, Tim, but I'm hoping you make it for at least this season. Also, I just think it would make me chuckle a little bit. Big Hurt leaves the Dragons because he wants to get out of Chicago so bad, and then they make the playoffs over him and his new team, even though he made a run for it at the very end. I don't know. I don't want to see that story end that way for Big Hurt. Nothing against Big Hurt. I just want to see Tim make it, and I think it would make me chuckle a little bit, go see, Big Hurt, you shouldn't have left that team. You had him in the playoffs. But I do think no matter how it plays out for Tim, sorry, Tim, if you run up against Kev, it's not going to end well for you. Kevin's going to win that game. I have no clue what to think about D-Money. My assumption is he won't be around. And that's going to throw everything we're talking about off. Listen, if D-Money's here, he's going to win, and he's going to make it to the NFC Championship game, and that's going to be a fun one between the Dallas Cowboys and the San Francisco 49ers. I just don't think he's actually going to be around. I think that's going to fall right around that Christmas break when he's gone. So if that's the case, Joker is going to get the victory here. Lions, I think that's going to be a great game. If there is a game to watch, Lions, Seahawks, that's the one you want to watch. Flip a coin. Both of these guys can beat anyone at any time. I think that game is totally in the air. I don't know who would win that. If I was forced to pick one, I'm taking the Lions just because they're at home, but that one could go either way. And then who knows what games we're actually going to get out of there. Is D-Money around? Is he not around? Did the Cardinals have a free win? Does somehow the Commanders get in this and beat Kevin? I don't think so, but I would have it coming down to either Kevin versus the Dallas Cowboys and Mr. Dwayne, or the San Francisco 49ers versus Dwayne. I don't care how we get there. I think that is going to be one of your NFC matchups, depending on if Dwayne is around or D-Money's around. I do think if D-Money and Kevin met up, that the 49ers would win that game, mainly because I don't like Kevin's mindset. He's so tough on himself. He goes negative so fast, and even though he plays well and he never gives up, I just believe when you play these top dogs, you got to have confidence. And you got to know that no matter what goes wrong in that game, you have an opportunity to overcome it. Even if Kevin doesn't have to play the 49ers and he has to play the undefeated, possibly undefeated Dallas Cowboys, I think it's still there. Does he have the opportunity to overcome his own mindset? If he was in chat, he'd already be saying, I'm going to lose. I'm not that good. I can't. I don't want to hear it. Until that stops, I don't know if you can make it all the way to an OMFL Bowl. I've only made 2, and both of them came from the years I was most confident. The last one coming when I beat Dwayne and D-Money, which gave me confidence. They probably both let me win. I don't care. I had confidence going into that bowl game, and that's what it's going to take from Kevin. He has the talent. He has the skill. He's got the play calling. He clearly has built the team. He's got the number 1 quarterback in this league right now, which that's a whole nother can of worms we could talk about on the next show. The NFC South could have just an amazing set of coaches or quarterbacks in that division if you and I don't screw this thing up. But anyway, I like Dallas to win, to be in the NFC side of OMFL Bowl number 107, only because I think D-Money won't be there. If they were both here, and if somehow they are, whether it's Kevin versus Dallas, whether it's 49ers versus Dallas, I think that would be great games. If it's 49ers and Dallas, I feel like the 49ers are Dallas's kryptonite. He believes that. And so if I'm going to hold Kevin to that same standard of confidence, I would hold Dwayne and the Dallas Cowboys to that. Though I would say you go undefeated. You got a lot of confidence, man. Flip a coin. I'm still picking Dallas, though, to represent the NFC in OMFL Bowl number 107. All right, let's flip it over and go to the AFC side. Let's move my camera. So, that's not what I wanted to do. Now we got me up here twice. That's not what we want either. Right now, this is how Madden has it. He has the Cincinnati Bengals as the number 1 seed. Bill has it as his team. The Bills having the number 1 seed at 12-3. The Bengals are at 11-4. So that's going to be flip-flop. It isn't here because we haven't advanced that week. The number 2 seed is the Cincinnati Bengals. The number 3 seed is the Las Vegas Raiders. That is correct here. The number 4 seed are the Condors. Also correct here. The number 5 seed, the first wild card, are the Ravens at 10-4. That is correct here. The Jets are at 9-6. The 6th seed, that is correct here. And then finally, the last seed, the Chargers, as the number 7 seed. They're 9-6. The Chiefs are still in the hunt at 8-6. The Dolphins are still in the hunt at 8-7. I would say the Dolphins are out of it. The Chiefs have the best opportunity. The Chargers have a bit of a tough schedule coming to the end here. I would see kind of in my head those 2 teams flip-flopping. I think everybody else you see here is going to make it in. I'm going to play by what we see here. Just flip-flop the Bengals and Bills. That's the only flip-flop. I like what we see. I think that's going to make for some really fun games, Maniac. And the one that I think a lot like the NFC, that first game, Bengals versus Chargers. I like that Black Cats now has a new team, but they're not built for him. And I think when a team is not built for you, unless you somehow find tons of momentum, which he's found some momentum, but not all the momentum that he needs, I think that's going to hurt him. Put in the Chiefs in that one. Could be a bit of a better game, but Denver knows how to win these games, and I think he does win that first round game. Raiders and Jets, Maniac, that's going to be fun to watch. Raiders have been a machine this year. The Jets started out terrible and somehow have won a ton of games to put themselves into the playoffs here in season 107. You got the up-and-comer, the guy with the young quarterback. You got the guy who's been there, done that, check marked it, got the t-shirt to match. What happens in that game? I'm just going to pick with my heart here and not my head. My head says it's going to be Jets all the way. They've been there. They know how to do it. The Raiders have been such a machine. That running game is outstanding. The rookie quarterback's playing great. I like the Las Vegas Raiders to win that one. And then you have Condors versus Nipples and his Ravens. If Ravens are around, they're going to win this game. The Condors just lack cachet this year. I'm not sure what happened, but the running game isn't quite there as it used to be. He doesn't have sort of that confidence. I can't quite put my finger on it. Look, I'm still trying to figure things out for my own team. How can I figure out for somebody else? I'm just saying how it feels on paper, even though they have the higher seed. Nipples and the Ravens knows how to win these games. I like him to win that game. Then all get out breaks loose. Who knows who's actually in this, who's not in this. But I do think you're going to get some fun matchups. I think we're going to have an AFC championship game. Bills versus Ravens. It's going to be a blast to watch that one. And the Bills has scored a ton of points. Bill and his Bills have scored a ton of points. They put up 30, 40 points some games, and they also played to a 10-6 victory over the Seattle Seahawks. It's going to be nasty. The weather's going to be against them. This is going to be old school football. Give me Bill and the Bills to represent the AFC in OMFL Bowl number 107 against the Dallas Cowboys. Who you got over here in the AFC?
Wow, that's some bold predictions right there. I'm with you on a lot of this. So, and again, like there's so many scenarios that could happen that could change a bunch of stuff. And like I did go over a bunch of that in the NFC side, but I did take a lot of time on that.
No. Listen, I wasn't taking a shot at you. I just was saying I'm not going to break down a bunch of games that may not actually happen. I've done that so many years in a row where it's just like, oh, this person's going to play this person, and then somehow they don't even make the playoffs, and now my prediction show looks all stupid.
No, because I know I can ramble, so that's my only thing. Because I can take a 5-minute show and turn it into a 50-minute show. That's just
I'm a preacher. I can too, buddy.
But I think there's going to be some churning at the bottom of this. The Chargers. I want to say that he's going to make it in, but. Just looking at the final 2 games to play, I think the Chargers have a little bit tougher road. They've still got KC to play. They still got Denver to play. Both of those are in-house, in-division games, and those always seem to play different. And I believe he's on the road on both of those games, if I remember right from looking earlier. The Dolphins are the ones that I'm looking at. They've got the Titans. The Titans have played pretty well as of late, though. They've put up a lot of points, and they've played pretty good defense. And then you've got the newcomer Shalom with the Rams. So the Dolphins, though, from that standpoint, you look at the teams that he matches up against. I think he has the upper hand to sneak into that 7 spot. I hope he doesn't, because I have his first round pick. So that would help me out if he didn't, because that means I get to pick 2 picks in the first round in the top 15, 16, 17 picks, hopefully. But I think the Dolphins are probably going to squeeze into that number 7 spot there. But I think everything else shakes out pretty much the same, except I'm going to switch the Ravens and the Bengals. I'm putting the Bengals at your top wildcard spot, and I think the Ravens are going to sneak in and be the division champs for the AFC North. So you're going to have the Ravens at number 2 for me, and then the Bengals are going to be at number 5. But still, they're going to match up against each other no matter what, because they're in the same spot. And I kind of have the same outcome as you have as well. But there's going to be some great matchups here. Bill being that top spot, he has put it on a clinic, both on the defensive side and the offensive side. In a few games this season on the AFC side, he's hung with all the top dogs on the AFC. He's beaten a lot of those guys, and that's the reason why he's in that top spot. He's leading the AFC East. He's going to win that division. He's got it wrapped up. And anytime you can come into a playoff and already wrapped up against a guy that's in your same division that's already won OMFL bowls, and it was just in the OMFL bowl to represent your side last season. That's a pretty big accomplishment. Looking at how this turns out, though, the Bills are going to be your number 1 seed. The Bengals will face off the Ravens. Ravens will actually get the win here. They will move on to the next round of the playoffs. Raiders versus the Jets. That game is going to be big, and I give the Raiders the upper hand in this one. The Raiders have just like you talked about, Nate. The Raiders have been on fire. I played him the second, or it might have been my first game of the season, and his team was just almost unstoppable at times. They were just, I was impressed with how he played, and he has found some confidence, and he's making some moves. Definitely, he's got 10 wins. A lot of times, we haven't seen J Biles have 10 wins in a season in a long time, so it's exciting to see some new, fresh blood getting up in there, getting the playoffs. And so, with that said, again, he's going to advance. He's going to beat the Jets. I know Kobe's probably going to take that personal, and he's definitely going to give him a fight. But I see the Raiders getting the advancement here to the next round. And then you got the Dolphins with me for number 7. They would be facing off. Oh no, I'm sorry. I was talking. Man, I got myself mixed up. The Bengals would actually. The Ravens would actually face the Dolphins, which they're still going to advance, the Ravens. And the Raiders would be facing the Jets, and then the Ravens would face the Condors, which the Ravens are going to win. The Bengals are going to win that one. I'm sorry. Man, I'm getting myself all confused, man.
See, that's why I don't do it. I can't, my little old brain can't handle it.
Yeah. So, but anyway, just to shorten this up, because I got all confused with the reseeding and stuff, and I'm looking at the screen. But you're going to have the Bills, in my prediction, the Bills versus the Raiders in the AFC Championship game. So, with all that said, I think it's going to be down to the wire. I think it's going to be a close game. And I see, and this is going to be exciting because you're going to have 2 teams, the Bills and the Raiders, in the AFC Championship game, in my vision, that have not been there, and with a chance to represent that side. And I'm going to give the nod to the Bills because he has just been that much better on defense. I think it's going to play a factor into this game. I think he's going to. It's going to be one of those games that. The Raiders haven't been used to being the AFC West, and it seems like the OMFL, the AFC West, kind of follows suit with how things have always been. The AFC West has always been one of those ones that they can't find their defense very, very good. They're always offensive heavy, and I think that's going to play in a factor to the Bills because the Bills have been there where they can shut you down. Play the dirty game, get down, get dirty, and just beat you to death. And so Bill and the Bills will represent the AFC facing off against the Cowboys. Well, that's going to be a matchup.
Yep, I agree with you. I think there are going to be a lot of fun matchups. So many good stories that can be told here. I'm not going to recap all that we've both said, but can the Jets go on a run? Will the Condors take this as poster board material and go and run? Does Nipples wake up and go on a run? Does Beal get there, or does he fall to Mr. Great and Mighty Denbrew? Like so many good AFC stories that we can tell there. But there you have it. Our predictions. I've got Dallas versus Buffalo in OMFL Bowl number 107. I'm not giving predictions because we're actually going to see who's going to be towards the end here. We'll give our predictions probably on the next show or two as we get a little bit closer. And then you had the Raiders. No. Buffalo versus Dallas too. Yeah. So both of us have Bills, Cowboys, the 1990, what was it, 90, 96, 97? 97, 98, what was it? It was 2 years back to back.
92, 93.
Ooh, boy. I just dated myself, boy. I was trying to give myself a little bit more credit there, but we're gonna get a rematch of what we used to see there in the real life NFL. All right, let's bring it over to a little bit OMFL news. Open up the mailbag, which is one. I don't know what's going on with you guys today. I'm calling y'all out. Look, we put forth some energy. I got Maniac just turning off his camera midterm. I got my camera freezing up halfway through. You guys aren't active in chat with me today. We got Pootie T in the chat. Pootie T don't even play Madden. Don't even pay attention to anything that we're doing over here in Madden.
Hey.
We got one mailbag question. I'm going to need everybody to wake up. It's season 107. We're almost to the playoffs. There's been a lot of fun games being played here at the end, and there's a lot more to talk about. So I'm going to need you to wake up, get engaged here. Let's finish this thing strong. Let's bring it over to Mr. Denbrew. Take it away for OMFL News number deuce.
Welcome back, segment 2, your OMFL news. And to get back to those questions, will the Cowboys finish the season undefeated? They end up with 2 road games. Week 17 at the Giants, and then a big game, week 18 at the Seahawks. Hard to believe that the Cowboys are going to risk getting anybody hurt in those 2 last games. Might be tough to finish undefeated. Not sure where his motivation is at. Is it important to finish undefeated, or is it important to go healthy into the playoffs? There's probably a good chance he may slip up just based off of the fact that he's probably going to be resting some starters. So I'm going to say no. The easy answer is to say, yeah, he goes undefeated. I'm saying no. And will Tim and his Dragons make the playoffs? Tim finishes up with... He's got 3 left. He's at the Packers, at the Vikings, and then he's at host the Buccaneers. Kevin may rest the entire team. He probably has his seating locked up at that point. So that's going to be interesting. I'm going to say Tim holds on to that seed and makes his first appearance in season or in this cycle. Makes the playoffs, makes his appearance into the playoffs this cycle. And as far as Panther Nation and his Chargers, Steelers at home, then he travels to KC, and then he hosts the Broncos. So 3 winnable games, and then 3 also games that he could slip up and lose. But I got faith. He's been pretty hot since he's taken over the Chargers. I'm going to roll with the Chargers hanging on to that 7 seed, making the playoffs. So to recap, the Cowboys, they do not go undefeated. Do the Tim and his Dragons make the playoffs? Absolutely. And then put me down for a yes that the Chargers and Panther Nation make the playoffs. While we're talking playoffs, 3 new teams potentially could be in this season out of the AFC, and that's the Chargers, the Ravens, and the Raiders. We got 1 new team potentially in the NFC, and that's the Cardinals with Joker, and then 1 new owner with Tim, as we mentioned, and his Dragons. The playoffs are right around the corner. I'm fired up. Let's get to it. Back to Nate, back to Maniac.
I love Denbrew so much, but the one thing you don't sound, Denbrew, is fired up. I'm going to need a little bit more pep in that energy. If you're going to be fired up, be fired up. Let us hear it. I figured we should do a little check-in on the puppy dog who's all bundled up in her little pullover. She's the cutest thing in the whole wide world. All right, let's land this ship. You ready for one whole mailbag question? Mr. Bronco Man. He says, who can you see turning heads in the OMFL playoffs? I'm going to pick... Oh, let me turn my controller back on. I'm going to pick 2 from each side that I think could possibly turn some heads. I'm going to start with the AFC. I'm being lazy. Give me Nipples and the Ravens. That guy is a champion. He knows how to win. Ravens, I think, could make a ton of noise. And then the second one, how can you not talk about Kobe and the Jets? I mean, Kobe is right there. He has been in multiple OMFL Bowls. Won multiple of them. Was just in last year's game. And now he's found some momentum with his team, and they're kind of moving into the playoffs red hot. I like the Jets. I like the Ravens. On the other side of the brackets over here, teams that I think can make noise. Tampa Bay Buccaneers. I know I was a little hard on Kevin, but Tampa Bay Buccaneers can definitely 100% make noise. And then it's so hard. Like, can you say that about a number 2 seed? Probably not. That's not fair. But you can't say that about 4 and 5. Lions, Seahawks. I don't know. I know they play each other in the first round, but whoever wins that game, they can make tons of noise. Both of those are great owners. They beat other really good owners. They like their rosters. They could go a very long way. I like both of them over in the NFC side. If you could pick a couple of teams, you make whatever number you want on this. Who could you see making noise in the playoffs?
Let's see. I feel like, you can never go wrong with like saying the Jets, but I'm gonna throw when I had the Raiders. We just talked about them on my deal making the AFC Championship game. I think he's already made a lot of waves coming into the playoffs. Getting to this point, actually being relevant in a playoff run, and I think that's something that is great for the league. I think he makes some noise. He's very good on offense. I think he's going to make some guys scratch their head, where did this Raider team come from? Some of these guys have been in the playoffs already, like a Denbrew and maybe like a Kobe. Those guys that have been there year in, year out, every season. You always see those guys seem like they're in the playoffs. But the Raiders, I think, are one that's going to make noise. And then whoever gets that last spot, I think, on the wild card. I mean, if you look at it, if the Chargers get in, you got a team that's been really good. He's an exceptional running team. That running back that Pepper left him was an X Factor superstar, something like that. But I can't even think of his name. But he has been putting up solid yards. I've seen several games already he's played that he's put up over 150 yards rushing with that running back. I think in a lot of ways the team fits his style pretty well. Got a pretty decent defense, so he could make some noise. And even if he doesn't get in, you got the Dolphins. The Dolphins was one of the ones I was talking about being that number 7 seed. Dolphins, one thing with them, you're going to get Tyreek Hill, speed. And anytime you put speed on a team, and he knows how to spread the ball around, he's got like 45 touchdown passes with his quarterback on the season. That team can make some noise. So those two teams, watch out for them in the AFC. On the NFC side, I think if you look at it, Commanders in my scenario make it in. He's got on that offense. You got Scary Terry on offense. He's been playing pretty solid with that quarterback, Sam Howell. Each game that he's played, he's had 3 touchdown passes, I think, in each game. But they've got a good running attack as well. Their offensive line is pretty solid. But the thing that sets the Commanders apart from a lot of the other teams is their defensive line is so good. And in a league that we've had, issues trying to get pass rush and stuff, those guys do make a difference because I've played the Commanders when they were Bird. It seems like they're always getting into the backfield, making problems for you. So the Commanders definitely could make some waves. And then last but not least, I think it'd be easy to talk about the Bucks and the season that they've had. I know Kev is a great coach, but the Seahawks, another wild card team, Meek Boy, he's been a phenomenal player. He definitely the Seahawks fit his style. If you look and watch any of his games, that team fits his style, and he will run the ball, smash it in your face, and then hit you over the top for an 80-yard bomb with DK Metcalf. So those two teams, though, kind of similar in style. You got Scary Terry, DK Metcalf. Both can take the top off the defense, and both have similar outcomes with a lot of their games. And so those two teams, I think, on the NFC side, watch out for those in the playoffs.
Yeah, that Commanders team can be dangerous, and we've seen Big Hurt start to gain his confidence back with a new team. He's putting up tons of points. He could make a lot of noise. I'm just picking with my heart when I say that. I think Tim can make it. That's going to put an end to the show. We've got all the OMFL news done. We've tried some technology. I'm going to try to twist his arm to get him to bring the technology back. You got to see him live and in person. The good thing is this brand new computer is eating this stuff up like a beast that it is. So everything looks pretty. Everything's working pretty. Found a few little hiccups that had nothing to do with the computer, but we have come to the end of our show. Maniac, give me one final closing thought as everybody reaches down and hits the like button here on YouTube. If you're on Twitch, thanks for the follow. I appreciate you.
Yeah. So this game has been something else this season for my team, and I know we both we've been like Siamese twins this season. So, and then having the tie, that was, like you said, it was just like the perfect ending to our season, pretty much. That would have made it even more better if it was like week 18, and that's the way you just ended it all going into the off season. So, excited to see. The main thing I'm excited to see, though, just since we're on this playoff talk and stuff, seeing guys like the Raiders, seeing guys like Tim, even just be in the conversation of playoffs. You know, that's pretty awesome. You know, like I said, those guys, they're some of the ones that play their games every week. You know, you don't hear a whole lot from them, but they play. You know, they're here, they're part of the community, and now they're kind of, you know, they're in the thick of things and stuff. So that's always just I really like seeing stuff like that. And just talking about let me give a little plug for the Deuce here. Since we've changed to all Madden, we've had some really good games. I did make some adjustments to the sliders after the update because it was talking about some things affecting pass coverage, and then also things that I wasn't aware of that would affect pass rush. And we're seeing those things actually matter now. So we've had a few guys leave. We've dropped I think 6 guys since we did this. Not all from just switching to all Madden, but we had a couple guys just peace out, and that's okay. You know, they just didn't work for our community, and that's fine. We'll move on. But I really have enjoyed playing in all the community leagues, and really, if you're not, if you find yourself after your OMFL game, you got nothing to do, there's things around here: golf leagues, shooters, other Madden leagues and stuff. Get involved. Get yourself out and get to know the other community members, not just in, say, the OMFL, you know. So anyway, that's my plug.
Before I give my kind of closing thoughts, I know that you have put up a vote on all Madden, and we're sort of shocked by the results. You want to tell us a little bit about how that vote looks?
Yeah, it's pretty much a unanimous. I think we had only 2. Let me pull it up here just so I don't give like false information. But my eyes are crossing. Where is the voting booth? There it is. Okay, so out of all the guys that have voted, we have 20 voted for all Madden to stay, and 1 voted no. That was they're enjoying the game. I gave up a vote for the guys in the league to vote. Thumbs up to like it, a handshake, they like it but need adjustments, and the thumbs down for get it out of here, go back to All Pro, and only had 1 one vote. Well, actually, there was no votes for that. I'm sorry, because I put all the way across the board with mine, so there is 0 votes for down. So 20 votes for. And again, we've lost some owners, but there's still 24 owners right now in the league. So only 4 guys did not vote. 20 guys voted for. They're enjoying the settings and all Madden.
If you haven't checked out the graphics that we have that I've made for a couple of the shows, you got to go check out the ones that I've made of Maniac and I's last week's show. It's hilarious, makes me laugh. I've had a really bad weekend and I needed something to turn my mind off, and so I just sat here making graphics every couple of minutes when I had time. It was a lot of fun. I like how they're coming out. I don't know what we're going to do in the OMFL about All Madden. I don't really know. I know the board wants to have the discussion. I don't know if we're gonna make us all play the preseason games and then make a league. I don't know what to do. So I'm gonna spend the next couple of weeks kind of talking to the board about what are we gonna do about getting people to experience both. I think, again, people hear All Madden and immediately the blinders go up. But then there's the maniacs of the world who him and I have figured out our quarterbacks. He's like, nah, I don't want to switch because we figured out the quarterback situation. Like, I don't know what to do out there. So we're going to figure it out and put something up, but it should be a ton of fun. I still need to do some Neon Sports videos. My last week of work is this week, and then I get like almost 3 full weeks off. And so those Neon Sports videos are coming. Also, just got a very, very, very sick grandbaby that's kind of taking up any of my spare time right now. But we also have Hot Seat. I'm looking for a Hot Seat. A bunch of you have told me that you would do it, but when I tagged everybody looking for somebody to be on the Hot Seat this week, there was no takers. So come hang out with me. You can join on video with your phone, iPad, computer, webcam, if you have any of that. We can handle all that now with this new computer, and I'm also going to be redesigning the stream once again.
Unless you're me and you can't figure it out. So
you figured it out. It's just it was giving you a hard time, but we'll figure it out next time. You look great and it was working great. We'll figure it out next time. Well, guys, thanks for hanging out with us. Good luck to all those teams who make it into the playoffs. For those who don't, we got the Toilet Bowl coming up. I think I'm going to try to join in the Toilet Bowl this year. Maybe that's a way for us to test All Madden. I don't know. It's no sliders, so it's a little bit differently, but we'll see how it goes. Guys, I love you. Remember, take care of yourself, especially with the holidays here. A lot of stress, anxiety, a lot of things going on. I just know for me, I'm connected to a lot of people that are going through it right now. I'm pulling for you. So take care of yourself. Take care of those people around you. Make sure that people know that you love them. Know that I love you, and I appreciate you for being here. Maniac, thanks for making time to do this. Guys, we'll see you on the next one, okay? Peace.
My pleasure.